Gunjan, tell me, how did Living My Promise, it's a movement, so how did it actually begin? Is it only in India or is it in other parts of the world
So
also?
Living My Promise started in 2018 with 6 Danotsav volunteers. They decided, that while there is giving pledge in the US, which is for the billionaires to pledge half of their wealth, why can't something like that start for Indians, middle class or upper middle class Indians, where if they feel that the half of their wealth is enough for them, they can promise to give the rest of the wealth towards social causes. So 6 of them first made this public promise themselves. And after that, from then we have grown year on year. And as we speak, there are 133 people who have made this public promise of giving 50% of their wealth away. So the movement is growing, and all this growth has happened organically. We have till date not done any paid promotion.
Lovely. So, but when you say they have made this public promise, what does that mean? I mean, what stops someone from breaking that promise?
Joining Living My Promise is fairly simple. Anybody who has a net worth of more than 1 crore can join this promise and can join this movement. When I say making it public, it is whenever anybody decides that they want to join this movement, they normally write a statement or a statement of intent, which is put on our website along with their picture. So that's the only thing which makes it public, because we have a website where all these 133 people, their name and their whys are published.
Gunjan, if you could share a journey of any one or two of the 133 philanthropists, the area of development that they might have managed to impact, or some role model for other potential philanthropists.
I would say each one of them has a very unique journey, because philanthropy is something very personal. Everybody comes into this with very personal motivations, sometimes some triggers. So, it would be very hard to talk about one person's journey. But I can say, from conviction, that after joining Living My Promise, there's definitely a shift in the giving behavior. When anybody think of their top of mind causes that they want to give, education, healthcare and elderly care are the three causes which comes on top of mind. But when they actually start engaging with the community, they realize that there are a lot of areas where there is not enough funding, and slowly people start maybe also start thinking about sectors which are underfunded. uh, you know I would just give an example of volunteering. There are promises in our group which are supporting volunteering at scale, and that is something very new, uh, for philanthropists to start supporting. So there are a lot of new uh, causes which open up for people after joining Living My Promise, just by being in the community of givers.
That's so interesting, actually, because the more you know, the more aware you are, the better equipped you are to give. That's what it is. How do you make them more aware of certain projects? How do you have sessions other than Dolphin Tank? Do you have meetups? How does it work?
So, Living My Promise, the promisers are free to engage if they want to. But once in a year, we have our national retreat for 2 days, where all the promisers come together. They talk about what they are doing. We also sometimes call external experts to talk to our philanthropist. Like one of our national meet, we had Azim Premji, who spoke to our promisers about his philanthropy, and people asked him questions. And we had Rohini, who spoke to our promisers once. There are external speakers who also talk to our promisers. Also, from time to time, we keep doing learning sessions for our promises based on the areas where they need help on. For example, if somebody needs help on will creation, we do sessions on that, on estate planning. So those kind of sessions do happen. We also have city meetups where people in different cities come together and meet. They sometimes even go for these NGO visits together. So there are smaller groups which work together with each other on their interest area.
So, what kind of impact has Living My Promise as a community, as a movement made till date?
As we speak, the 133 promises or Living My Promise signatories, collectively together in their lifetime will end up giving 4,000 crores towards social causes of their choice. And even if I assume an average of 40 years, we're still talking about more than 100 crores every year. So that's the kind of impact a movement like this can have. And it's a growing movement. So just a matter of awareness. And I do feel that if everybody in India knew about such a movement, we would probably be 10,000 people by now. Because, it's a movement which many would like to join. Yeah.
Also, and I think it will also give impetus to the government to aid it, to support it with the tax rebates, for example. And that would also encourage, people to join. I think a large part is that also.
Yes, and also, in a way, nudge the top 1% of our country, the top 1% Indians, to also give generously. Because if an average Indian who's not even close to being a billionaire can give away 50% of their wealth, I'm sure our billionaires can do much better.
Absolutely, and I wish they would. Gunjan, where do you see this movement? How do you see this movement growing in the next, say, 5 years, 10 years? What's your, you also must have dreams for it since you're leading it and you're fostering everyone, all these people together.
My dream is if the top 1% of the wealthy Indians get inspired and become generous with sharing their wealth, I think we have the potential of wiping out the poverty in India in just one generation. So that's the power of philanthropy. And that is what I would like to see as a change. I would like to see this movement growing and this community of philanthropists growing to maybe a 10,000.
Oh, nice. That's a good number. I think a lot of people do want to do good work. So most people, what I've seen is that they either have the time but don't have the money. They have the money but don't have the time. They have the will but they don't know what to do. They don't have the bandwidth. The intent is there. I would like to make some social change and I don't want to keep blaming everything, this problem, that problem. But they don't know where to begin. You see, what would you say to people?
I would say people who say that they want to do something but are not finding the ways to do it, I'm sorry to sound like this, but I think they're lying to themselves. Especially in a place like India, if you really want to contribute and do something, you just have to get out of the door. And the opportunities are endless. If you don't have money, give time. If you don't have time, start with writing a check, but do something. And there are endless opportunities. You can, if you want to work for the environment, maybe spend some time with the kachra wala in your building and see what are the challenges, how much he makes per day, in the income that that family has. Start helping that person. Start creating awareness in your building about how they should be, segregating their garbage so that that person doesn't have to manually do everything. I would say that there are endless opportunities for doing good in India, and each person can contribute.
That's so right, actually. And I think that's what citizenship really is all about. Gunjan, tell me that when people want to give, what are the tips that you could share with them, to better their giving, how they give, what they give, where they give, etc. Just some tips.
I would like to start this with by saying that philanthropy or giving is something very personal, and it is not something new to Indians. Philanthropy and giving is ingrained in our culture, and Indians are known to be very generous, and every family has a culture of giving. If the philanthropist can keep these three things in mind, first would be to be more generous with your income and wealth. When I say that is, start giving maybe higher percentage of your income and wealth, and while you are living, maybe start doing it sooner and not leave for the future generation, which might not even need that inheritance ever. The second thing that I would like philanthropists or people who want to give is be more hands-on with their giving, because that is immensely rewarding when you give time with the wealth. And lastly, which is again very important, is be a strategic giver. By that, I mean that don't delve too much into the overheads of an organization and where the money is going and how they are utilizing it. Whereas, be supportive of, building the organization and empowering the organization to do the work that they do so that they can create the impact that you want to see. So I think if we can do all these three things, collectively we can create a more impactful philanthropy landscape in India.
There are a lot of NGOs that are really, really far-flung, very remotely placed, and they really don't know how to get in touch with funders, and funders don't know how to get in touch with them. It seems like a dream that one day all these far-flung, remote NGOs will also get the kind of funding that an NGO in Delhi or Mumbai gets. What are your thoughts on that?
I do see that changing. In fact, there is a lot of awareness about people funding rural organizations, and that's the power of individual funding. Unlike a CSR, which has to restrict, about how they give, an individual funding can be anywhere, and there is a rising awareness of funding rural organization, and I have many examples from our own community. There are two promisers who support education in Bundelkhand. So a group of our signatories visited to see what they're doing and ended up adopting many children from that village. So that's one. Then we have within our promiser base, there are promisers who are working on rejuvenating water bodies in rural India. Promisers who are working in really remote areas of Leh, Ladakh, hills of Darjeeling, Sundarbans, and the districts of Raigad and Palghar. So there are many such examples where our promisers are supporting rural NGOs and causes there.
It's really wonderful to know. And is it because the promisers are from those regions, close by, or how have they found out about these?
Now it is more about awareness because with so much of digital awareness and platform creation, we do get to know. Also because our promisers are present across 30 plus locations within India and outside India. So these are Indians living outside India, and some of them do have their roots in the rural communities. So they keep getting to know about what are the requirements, and some of them are very evolved philanthropists where they have teams managing their philanthropy. We have all various range of philanthropists.
Yes. Yeah. So nice. So good to hear this, Gunjan, really. I want to know, why is there a need to talk openly about philanthropy? When we give our money, a lot of people don't want to talk about it.
We have this in our culture that the right hand should not know what the left hand is giving. There is definitely a need from a lot of people to be anonymous. Also because the generous giver who give large amount don't want to be noticed. And so, but the goal here is actually to create an environment where talking about giving is normal. Also because, when somebody talks is when, somebody in their close network gets inspired. Most of them, after they've joined, realize that once they start talking about it, the people in their close network either have re-benchmarked their giving and have started giving higher amounts, or realize that they were probably in the same life stage and they are ready to give too, and that to generous amounts. So for us to create that environment and grow philanthropy, I think talking about it is important.
I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head, that I think it inspires other people talking about it. And actually, that's what we're in pursuit of.
Absolutely.
Exactly that, to inspire other people into getting up and be true citizens of the country, right? And not just sit back and say, वो ऐसा होता तो ऐसा ठीक था, और या ऐसा होना चाहिए था. To actually give a part of themselves.
Absolutely, yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you for coming on our show and telling us so much about, how philanthropy can work and how it can be so powerful. And it was really good to know about it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Our pleasure. We complain about so many things. We complain about the government, we complain about the lack of civic sense that people around us don't have. We complain about bad roads, the electricity, the water, the polluted water. The list is endless, right? But we have to begin thinking of citizenship as something beyond our identity and taxes. How can we be the change? Citizenship is the next coolest thing. I leave you with that thought. Namaste, till we meet again on In Pursuit of.